If you've experienced anxiety, then I'm sure you know that it sucks. And maybe you've been asking yourself why you tend to get worse anxiety after you've been drinking alcohol. I want to help you through that. I want to help you understand why your anxiety is worse after you've been drinking. And best of all, I want to show you what you can do about it so it doesn't happen any longer. I'm Simon Chapple, the Quit Alcohol Coach. I'm the author of the Sober Survival Guide and the book How to Quit Alcohol in 50 Days. And I run this amazing YouTube channel for anyone who wants to change their relationship with alcohol. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. There's new videos every Tuesday and every Thursday. I don't want you to miss out. Just hit that subscribe button and the bell icon now. You'll get notified every time there's a new video. Your comments, your likes and your subscription to the channel really matters. It helps to grow it on YouTube. Join my community and you'll be part of something really, really special. Now let's talk about alcohol and anxiety. Now, as you may know, I've been alcohol free for over 3 years. And before I quit, I was drinking between 1 and 3 bottles of red wine every single day. Absolutely every day. There are only a handful of days where I didn't drink. And that was normally when I was too ill to get out of bed or it was impossible for me to get my hands on wine. And my anxiety was out of control. It was 9 or 10 out of 10. It was literally off the charts. I would have panic attacks. I would worry about things that didn't happen. And even when I managed to overcome one of those worries, I would find something else to start getting anxious about. Since I quit drinking, within a few months after I stopped, my anxiety began to fade away. It started to reduce. And since that time, it's been probably 2 or 3 out of 10. It's what I would consider normal levels of anxiety, and it just hasn't returned. So most importantly, alcohol really does mess with our anxiety and mess with our emotions. I want to explain exactly why. I believe that if you understand it, then you can take away some of the power that alcohol might have over you at the moment. Now, some people find themselves becoming anxious almost directly after the first alcoholic drink, whereas other people don't experience anxiety until the morning after. And there's a number of reasons for that. Once again, the more you understand it, the more you can take steps to make the changes that are going to help you eliminate anxiety from your own life. So as you can probably see, I've invested in some cutting edge technology. It's called a whiteboard. And I'm going to show you on this whiteboard one of the reasons why we experience anxiety after we've been drinking. Now, imagine if you've never drunk before. Your brain keeps you at a baseline of happiness. This is called homeostasis. And that is where your brain wants to keep you all of the time. If you're too happy or too sad, your brain will take steps to get you back to this baseline of happiness. That's where it wants you to be. That's its job, is to maintain homeostasis. Now, alcohol is a drug, so it has to have some kind of positive effect. Personally, I don't think any of the effects are positive, but there has to be some kind of upside. The fact is, the upside lasts for about 30 to 45 minutes. After that, it tends to be a downhill, slippery slope. So when you have that first drink, you might have noticed how you feel kind of euphoric. You feel a sense of happiness. You feel calm and more relaxed. This is one of the reasons why people falsely believe that alcohol reduces anxiety. Sure, it does for a short period of time, but after that, it makes everything a whole lot worse. So we have this initial stage where we feel euphoric. And I'm going to put a little smiley face right up there. Not a very good drawing. After 1 or 2 drinks, the chemical reaction in our brain makes us feel relaxed. It might reduce levels of shyness. We might feel more outgoing, less inhibited. It doesn't last for long, and we might have that kind of euphoric feeling going on as well. That's how most people describe it. Now, after your brain has released these chemicals, dopamine and endorphins, that makes you have that euphoric initial feeling, which is simply the reaction of the drug. Alcohol's a drug. It has to have some kind of positive effect, or we wouldn't keep buying it, would we? What would be the point? But when you realise that the trade-off, the after effects simply aren't worth that short 30, 45 minute burst, it might make you open your eyes and realise that actually, I don't want that any longer. I don't see the benefit. It's just not worth the trade-off. So after this happens, our brain realises we've come off of this baseline. We're no longer in a state of homeostasis. So it releases a chemical called dynorphin. And dynorphin brings us down. It's a downer because we're far too high. Our brain has seen that we're up here. So it releases dynorphin and that brings us back down again. Now the problem is this isn't an exact science. And almost always it brings us down here underneath the level of our baseline of happiness. And this can be why after 1 or 2 drinks, you might start to feel anxious, you might start to feel edgy, and you might start to feel a sense of unease coming over you. So what do? We have another drink, and that takes us back up to here, and we feel a bit happier. Now, that second or third drink is never the same as the first drink. It never gives you that same hit of euphoria. We're looking for that. We think we're going to get that, but we don't. After this, what happens? Our brain realises we're back above our baseline of happiness and it releases more dynorphin and down we come again. And on goes this roller coaster as we continue drinking. Our emotions become more and more unstable. And over time, if you drink daily or you're a very heavy drinker, you actually end up in a place where you can't get above your baseline of happiness. You're permanently down here. And that's what happened to me. I found myself in low moods. I was sad constantly. I didn't know what happiness looked like. I was nowhere near my baseline of happiness. I didn't even think it existed. And this was why. It was happening over and over. Now, there's a number of other reasons why we find alcohol increases our anxiety, either straight after we've been drinking or the morning after we've been drinking. But this chemical reaction plays a huge part, and by understanding it, you can see exactly how insidious alcohol really is. Alcohol's not your friend. Alcohol causes nothing but emotional instability. Just think about this and how at the end of the night you might have seen people in floods of tears, being emotionally overwhelmed. It's because they're off of their baseline of happiness, their anxiety is all over the place, and their emotions have become completely unstable. That's what alcohol does to us. We become completely irrational. Now, whenever we drink, even in small amounts, we experience some level of withdrawal. Alcohol's a drug, as I've mentioned. When we stop taking a drug, there's a withdrawal. Our body craves more of the same. So whether that's the same day or the morning after, there's going to be some level of craving. Often it's very low level, and you might not even identify it as a withdrawal, but that's exactly what it is, and that can make you feel anxious, kind of like an itch that needs to be scratched. This can raise our anxiety levels, and of course it can lead to us drinking again. And this is where we can develop a problem with alcohol, where we feel we need to calm ourselves down. We need alcohol to remove the anxiety, but it's the alcohol that's caused the anxiety in the first place. One of the biggest reasons that we experience anxiety after we've quit is because of the poor sleep that alcohol causes. Now, just like I did when I was drinking, you might think that alcohol helps you sleep. That's a complete myth. When we sleep without alcohol, we experience all of the cycles that we need to get proper restorative sleep. This is called REM, R-E-M, just like the band. REM sleep. We need to enter all of those cycles in order to wake up feeling fully refreshed. But when we drink, we do not enter those cycles. Although we feel like we've slept because we were kind of knocked out, we do not enter those cycles when we've been drinking alcohol. So I'd like to think of it a little bit like this. If I've got a computer, a bit like the computer in front of me at the moment, and I've got 15, 20, maybe even 30 web browsers open. There they all are, all my web browsers. And I've just left that computer running over and over. I've never shut it down. I've never turned it off. Over time, this computer is going to crash, right? It's not being restarted. Eventually, it becomes overwhelmed. It's all too much. The computer crashes. It's exactly the same with alcohol. We're not getting the proper sleep cycles. It's exactly the same as not hitting the restart or the sleep button on a computer. It's like leaving the computer on all night. When we don't drink, we enter those proper sleep cycles, and it's exactly the same as shutting the computer down, giving ourselves a restart so that in the morning we feel fully rebooted, fully refreshed and ready to go again into the day. And of course, when we don't enter those sleep cycles, what happens? We feel edgy, anxious, irritable. And that's just from the sleep alone. You combine that with a hangover, or maybe thinking about something regrettable that you did the night before, and you have a recipe for anxiety. For me, alcohol, wine in particular, was anxiety in a bottle. It was liquid anxiety. And when I realised that if I didn't put that liquid into my body, my anxiety faded away, I knew that I had made the best decision I ever made by cutting it out of my life forever. And maybe you need to prove to yourself that not drinking will actually allow you to get rid of your anxiety. Imagine if you went through your entire life and you never found out that you could remove your anxiety simply by removing alcohol. And if you think life will be boring, you'll be worse off if you weren't able to drink, watch some of my other videos and find out the truth about that, because that is not the reality. Life is infinitely better when we don't drink. Just ask some of the people in my amazing members program and they'll tell you how much better their life is without alcohol in it. So I think we owe it to ourselves to go and get the truth, to go and get the evidence around this and find out if we took a break for maybe 30 days, would that allow us to experience a reduction in our anxiety? I can tell you now, categorically, that after 30 days without alcohol, you will be feeling calmer, more mentally resilient. You will notice that your anxiety has started to fade. It would not be completely gone at that point. It usually takes a few months, but you would certainly be noticing a difference. So I think we owe it to ourselves to at least take that experiment, take that test, and find out the evidence. If after 30 days you've noticed that things are starting to feel a whole lot better, then maybe you could extend it. And if you're experiencing lots of positive things coming into your life, maybe increase it to 50 days and notice what happens. The worst thing we can do is stay stuck in a trap of daily drinking, poor sleep, and anxiety. We don't want it. Anxiety can be debilitating. None of us want that. Having a life without anxiety allows you to open up the doors to complete joy, complete happiness and total calm. Sure, things still happen, bad things still happen, but we're able to deal with them so much better. Alcohol is at the root cause of anxiety for so many people. And I want you to take that step and experience a period where you don't have alcohol so you can prove to yourself that it is making your anxiety so much worse. If you've already taken a break from alcohol, post a comment below so that anyone who hasn't experienced it can see what has happened for people who've already taken that break. Share what happened for you and whether you experienced a reduction in anxiety or whether nothing changed. I'm pretty sure it will have changed, but post a comment below so that we can see what everybody's experience has been. And if you want me to do a video on any particular topic, feel free to ask questions in the comments or share any topics that you would like me to cover in the future. I read and respond to all the comments personally. There's new videos every Tuesday and every Thursday. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and I'll see you next time.